So today I'm going to talk about land speeders. Now there's been 4 basic land speeders released. There's been more than that technically, but it's all based on these 4 as we go. So let's go through these one by one in order of how they were released. So we'll start with the original land speeder here. This is the vintage land speeder from the 70s. I never had one of these as a kid. I remember my cousin did, and I thought it was really cool. And what I always thought was super cool about it as a kid was that you could pop this and you could look inside, and there was detail inside the engine. For some reason, that came across to me as really cool. And as you see, it's just a little sticker in there. There's not a whole lot there. The only other feature this really has is right now it's on wheels. It can roll, but you have a little shifter in here, and you can pop that back, and it takes the wheels down. Here, I'll show you. So you can see you pop the wheels in and out. So you can have it so it's just flat. And the wheels kind of work like right there. Now it could be because of its age, I'm not sure. But kind of a cool idea. And it had the chrome sides, all 3 engines as you can see there, and a couple of seats. Now these seats, mine are, I think they're a little broken. I got this, like I said, I never had this as a kid. This came secondhand at some point. You can see the windshield got cracked on one of my moves at some point because I didn't protect it well. Always protect your expensive toys when you, well, not this is terribly expensive, but you know, in the end, there we go. That's the original land speeder that we got. What was this, 1978, I believe. So after that, we didn't get another land speeder until 1995 when we get the Power of the Force 2 collection there. 1995, really just called Power of the Force, but and we get an upgrade to that original. And if you notice, this is basically the same mold as the vintage one here. And that was very common in all of the early vehicles released in the 90s, is that they were just reuses of vintage vehicles with upgrades. So in this case, you can see lots of different upgrades. We have more detail. You can see kind of line detail back here. We now have engine detail on the exposed engine. The seats are better detailed. There's a little bit more to it. We can pop the hood here, and you can see it's a slightly better sticker. Not near as loose as my other one either. You can see the detail in there. And we still have kind of the silverish sides, but you notice there's a little more weathering to it. Lots of better paint all around it. It's made much more to look like the land speeder in the movie, and you can see even better stickers inside. And then it even has foot pegs on the back so that you can, you know, stick some droids or something back there. Other than that, it has the exact same stuff. You saw the pop the hood. We can move the wheels in and out. Here, it's just plain flat. It's like a boat there. And then that'll pop out those wheels so it can kind of float along, which was the whole idea. The windshield is also down a lot more. It's not as high up anymore. So this is our Power of the Force 2 land speeder. Came out in 1995. So in 2002, in the Saga collection, we get an all-new land speeder. Now this is bigger than what we had before. In fact, let me put it right here next to, you can see next to the Power of the Force 2 one, see the differences. The front end is much longer. The engine detail is better. It is all around a better brand new vehicle, which was nice because this is about the time when Hasbro started kind of updating and giving us new vehicles. It's got the rifle here on the side, which has a little hook to put it in there. I can actually take it out if I wanted to. We have a steering wheel in there, you can see. We still have the same mechanism for the wheels. They can pop in and out using a little shifter. If I can get it to work, there we go. You can see right there. It's the same idea, so you can still do that. You notice the seats are much better. We got a bigger windshield, but look at the engine detail in that. That's so much better. Bigger area in the back to put your droids, more detail, better paint detail. Everything all around is better, except it's missing one thing. You can no longer pop up the hood. Now, I thought there, oh, maybe I'm thinking of something else. But I was going to say, I remember this button, but I think it's on the Black Series one. But all around, you can see the details far, far better. It kind of has almost pearlescent quality to it, a little pink and silvery and that. So the paint job isn't quite right, but it looks really good. You can see it's even got the dent right up here. So this isn't our final Landspeeder. We have one more. Oh yeah, we have better detail on the back there too, which is pretty nice. So in 2011, we get a vintage collection Landspeeder. So it's put in a vintage style box and everything. And this is the same mold as the previous Landspeeder. I forgot to mention this previous one actually came with a Luke Skywalker figure and in a window box from Toys R Us exclusive. But this was a full TVC version, same mold, but you can see the paint job is different. It's a little more accurate to what's in the movie. That pearlescent quality I talked about earlier is gone. It's much more of a sandy, orangish brown, if you will. The highlights are a little bit better. But it's the same mold. But, I mean, look at the detail. Like, you can see better detail on there. That crunch on the front looks a little bit better. Looks like it's scraped a few times on the front, of course. I don't think I showed the detail. It's actually got detail underneath on this. Look, even some paint detail. We never get stuff like this anymore, do we? And then even the back. Now, on mine, you'll notice I've got figures in there because this is set up for my dioramas. And the 3PO and the R2 are hot glued in place to keep them in. This is part of my diorama for kind of when the Sand Troopers are talking to Obi-Wan about the droids, which is why he's got his hand up and all that sort of stuff. So this is kind of like my main display Landspeeder, if you will, for my dioramas, although I actually use both because I'll use the previous one as the one that the Tusken Raiders are going through and everything. But this is probably my favorite. Well, it is my favorite. It's because the best paint job, best detail, best mold, and all that sort of thing. But it's interesting. Here it is. This is from 2011, and I'm doing this in 2023. So it has been 12 years since we've had a real Landspeeder release. Now, every one of these Landspeeders, I think, has been re-released at some point, or at least the mold has been here and there. But specifically the Saga one previously got, I want to say it got released at least once more in different packaging. But the TVC one we got here, like I said, in 2011, and we haven't seen another 3 3/4 inch scale Landspeeder since then. Now, I'm covering Landspeeders, so we've got to talk about one more thing. And that's the Black Series Landspeeder. In 2017, Hasbro was doing Black Series vehicles, smaller vehicles, and one of the early ones they did here was the Landspeeder, which, again, I have set up with the figures all in it. And 3PO and R2 are glued in again just to keep them there. But there's a couple things. You notice we got the rifle in there, but it's got a better holder in there. This one does have an opening hood with the best detail we've ever had underneath. And there's an even better version of this, but I'll show that in a second. There's a spot for actually R2, the port on the back of him to actually click in or to go into the Landspeeder to hold him in place. You can see I can actually put 3PO's foot down in there. He still looks like he's about ready to fall off, but look at like the detail on the engine over there. All sorts of good stuff. You can see, it's hard to see. I know I got all the figures in there and some dust, but much better console and everything. And then, as long as I don't lose anything, we actually have a display stand now for this to keep it hovering rather than wheels for the first time. So we got this, but we did get an even better version of this. Because of where I have it, it's hard to get to, but there's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive one, and I've covered this in a past review. So what I'm going to do, rather than try and get up to this and probably knock a bunch of boxes down, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up by, you can click on the review at the end of this to go and see what this actually looked like and really check that out. From when I looked at this, oh gosh, what is that, 6 years ago now. So that is a look back at some Landspeeders.